Lesley Stahl has revealed something pretty explosive about Donald Trump, but it's only explosive if you haven't been paying attention to him and the way that he's been talking about any media coverage that's negative about him. Now, he says some pretty disparaging things about media, but he does it for a specific reason. Lesley Stahl explained why during the Deadline Club of New York. This is a group of journalists who get together and do journalist things, give each other awards or something. But
to be fair, we give a watchdog journalism award.
I know.
Okay.
Let's
for
all
independent journalists
ourselves.
who are doing wonderful reporting.
Yes.
Okay, yes.
Okay, but with that said, I want you to hear from Lesley Stahl herself, so take a look.
Before the interview, I met with him in Trump Tower. At one point, he started to attack the press. And it's just me and my boss and him. He has a huge office. And he's attacking the press. And there were no cameras. There was nothing going on. And I said, you know, that is getting tired. Why are you doing this? You're doing it over and over, and it's boring, and it's time to end that. You know, you've won the nomination. And why do you keep hammering at this? And he said, you know why I do it? I do it to discredit you all and demean you all, so when you write negative stories about me, no one will believe you. Said that. So put that in your head for a minute.
Okay, I have so many things to say about this story. The first of which is, of course that's why he's doing it. So look, think about why it makes sense and how unfortunately, like, there's nothing you can do about it. If for his supporters, whatever he says is true by definition. Mm-hmm. So they're not going to listen to you once he's discredited you in that way. And so for others, it should be really obvious that that's what he's doing. But to me, the most disturbing part of that video is the groan from the other journalists in the room. Did that not occur to you? Was that not your going assumption? Like, of course, first of all, who cares if he's doing it in a genuine way or not? But it's so obviously to discredit your stories that are actually true.
Okay.
In one of his tweets, I'm sorry, you know what, here, put up graphic 21, right? So he writes, the fake news is working overtime. That's his standard stuff, right? He says, just repeated that despite the tremendous success we're having with the economy and all things else. Now listen to this part. 91% of the network news about me is negative, and then in parentheses, fake. See, that's just him admitting that it's not actually fake, it's stuff he doesn't like, it's negative about him. That doesn't mean that it's not true. Mm-hmm. He conflates those two things. So if you are a smart person, you already know that he's doing that. If you're a dumb person, you're already voting for him and don't care, right? So, like, how could the press not know that that's what he's doing?
To be fair to the press, I mean, we're obviously playing a guessing game as to what they're thinking and why they're groaning. But if I were in that audience of journalists, I would have the same reaction, even though I know what he's doing. I've been aware of what he's doing. It's just a reaction to show that you disapprove, right? I think that's what it's really about.
Fair.
Now, with that said, though, you know, my take on this story is the fact that Trump has a base. And some portion of that base would refer to themselves as constitutionalists, right? People who really value the Constitution. And yet they misunderstand what the whole purpose of freedom of the press is. They misunderstand what the whole purpose of the press is. The press is not meant to be the president's personal PR company, right? Or PR agents. Like, the press is supposed to hold people in power accountable for their actions. And that includes the president, includes business people. The whole point of journalism in the very beginning was muckraking, right? Raking the muck. These were people who would investigate shady businesses that were screwing over consumers, and they would reveal everything to people so they were informed about what was going on. That's the whole purpose. It's not to be Trump's personal PR company.
No, yeah, look, I think you're exactly right, but I'm gonna go even further. I think that the journalism schools in this country are, I'm gonna say a pretty big statement here, are doing it all wrong. It's like the problem with the cops. We're training them wrong. Why are they shooting so quick? Because we told them to shoot so quick. That's in their training. So in the journalism schools, they're teaching this neutrality, which is maddening. It is the exact opposite of journalism. Now, so they say, all right, now look, you get both sides and And implicitly, they're telling people to call it 50-50. So, well, hey, now you gotta be fair to Republicans because they keep screaming at us. No, you don't have to be fair to Republicans.
You don't have to be fair to anyone.
That's right, and what do we mean by that? Does that mean you should be unfair? No, it means you have to be fair to the facts, no matter where they lie. So if it turns out the Democrats have donors that are giving them money to do the export-import bank, which is basically crony capitalism, you don't have to call it crony capitalism. You don't have to say you don't like Democrats, but you should point out where they get their money and why they're agreeing to the export-import bank. As an example, right? For the Republicans, you should point out that they do record-breaking obstruction, et cetera, et cetera. But part of the problem is they go, no, even-handed. Even-handed is not real journalism. It's in fact the opposite of it. It's saying, I know what the truth is, but I'm gonna cover it up. I'm not gonna let my audience know it. Instead, I'm gonna present them this version of reality which is 50-50, right? Republicans say this, Democrats say that. Who cares what they say? What's reality? So one more thing about that. Look, it's not just that they don't want to offend Republicans, which is a horrible, horrible standard. You should never teach that in journalism school. Who cares who you're offending, right?
They're not teaching people, hey, don't offend anyone. They're trying to constantly drill into students' heads that you have to be objective or else it'll destroy your career, right? And people mistake objectivity with neutrality. Being objective is a good thing. You should be objective, but in that pursuit of objectivity, you should also seek the truth. And who's telling the truth? Who's lying? Being neutral is not doing your job. It's just regurgitating what both sides are saying.
No, that's 100% right, Anna. But I feel like from everything that I have seen from the professors and the seminars and the conferences, everything that I've attended and what I see on television, when I see the so-called experts writing about, talking about is that by objectivity, they're totally confusing their students. And objectivity is the facts, not, well, okay, but did you get the Republican point of view? Sure, get all points of view, but you don't have to write all of that in. You only have to write the facts in, right? So because if you say, okay, now here are the facts, but now I'm gonna spend 90% of the time telling you what the two sides think, well then you got all of your audience to focus on what the two sides think instead of what the facts are, right? So look, last thing about this, which is really important that I have never quite said it this way before, and in fact it was part of this story that I had kind of an epiphany about it. It's not just that they're worried about offending Republicans or Trump. They're actually afraid of offending Republican viewers and readers and they are special little snowflakes. So if you tell Republicans that Republicans are wrong about anything, they will cry for hours and hours and they'll start to say, oh, we should boycott and we should do this and the press and right? And I get why that's a business imperative. Think about it for a second. So you're running a television station as an example. What do they tell you? Hey, look, a lot of your viewers are Republicans. But then what is the implication of that? Make sure you don't give them the truth. Make sure you give them bland vanilla that doesn't offend them or the Democrats, liberals or conservatives. Well, if you're delivering news that doesn't offend anyone, you're not delivering news. What you're doing is delivering a product that advertisers, et cetera, are happy with, but you're not doing journalism. Two easy ways to follow the Young Turks. One is hit the subscribe button down below, then you're a TYT subscriber. And second is ring the bell. And when you do that on YouTube, you're notified of our videos.